Hello, welcome to Chief Chat with Police Chief Lee Gavin and our Fire Chief Dave Brogan. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are going to talk about summer safety, and everything that goes along with, well, theoretically speaking, summer's here. I don't know if it's actually here yet, but theoretically speaking, summer is a time for fun, a time for families to get together, but also a time to really be cognizant of safety issues. And of course, 4th of July is coming up, and we have a lot of issues with fireworks and safety and ordinances, and I think our residents need to know what's going on with all that stuff.
You know, I'll start off with the fireworks. Naturally, you hear fireworks all year round. According to the law, there are 12 holidays that you can light the fireworks. And with those 12 days, you can light it day before, the day of, and the day after the holiday. So that's 36 days a year that they can light the fireworks from 8 a.m. to 12 midnight. I believe January 1st, they can light them up until 1 o'clock in the morning. So that's 36 days a year, but I'm sure our residents hear fireworks in the summer almost every day. Right now we're going through the Ramadan season, so we get increased fireworks with that. We're coming up on July 4th weekend. We're going to have a lot of fireworks. So our citizens, they're aware, the fireworks can be let off those 3 days, day before, of, and after.
So I'm always hearing fireworks, always. I mean, morning, noon, and night, way before July 4th, and way after July 4th. So what can we do about that, or what advice can you give, or what should people do when they do hear fireworks during those times that they're not really supposed to be using them?
What we do is we ask our residents to call the police department.
It's annoying.
It's annoying. We get a lot of complaints on it. Annoying to the residents, annoying to the animals. A lot of dogs and cats get fearful, and the residents complain that their dogs are hiding
runs
under the
underneath
bed,
the couch or under the bed, or just comes and sticks to me. He's so scared and shaking and always barking. So you have all that noise going on.
So we ask the residents to give us a call the police department. We'll send a car out there. If we can see who is lighting the fireworks off, we can write a violation. Sometimes we'll pull up and there'll be a group of people and the fireworks are not going off at the time, and we don't know exactly who set them off, so we can't write a violation.
They're not going to tell you.
Right. Nobody's gonna tattle on their friend. They're having a good time. So we actually have to see someone lighting the fireworks off.
What's the violation?
A violation is for lighting the fireworks off, and you would receive a civil infraction ticket for it.
So how much do you have to pay?
That's all up to the judge, but it could be a fine up to $500.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I mean, you're taking a chance if you're lighting fireworks outside those 3 days of having to go in front of a judge and pay $500. So it's good to know.
If you do light them off on the days that are legal, you have to make sure that you have to light them off on your property, and when they go up and when the debris comes down, it has to land on your property. You cannot use a city playground, a city park, a local church, high school. You can't use that property to send the fireworks off. You have to use private property, and what goes up must come down on your property. Living in the areas we live in with small residential lots, most likely when it goes up, it's going to go somewhere else. And that's when it lands on garages, roofs, and that's when our fire department gets involved if there's fire issues.
It's a perfect transition, because obviously what comes up, you really don't have control as to where it comes down. And even if it comes down on your property, I mean, that's a fire hazard within itself. So what's your experience?
Well, that is a fire hazard, and even the material that's left behind still can be hot and smoldering. Sure. And we've had people that have had a firework display, and they've cleaned it up and they've put it next to their garage, and then the garage is caught on fire. And so we've been very lucky. We haven't had any real bad damage as a result of fireworks. But if you're going to have this many fireworks going off in the densely populated area that we're in, it's just a recipe for something's going to go wrong
Disaster.
eventually. Yeah.
And with the new legislation where Governor Snyder has opened up the what we used to call professional fireworks, where
Right.
residents and citizens can actually purchase them. What's been your experience since
Right.
then in terms of fire hazard and also violations?
Yes.
Yeah, just the consumer grade fireworks. There's actually one grade that's higher, and that's the public display fireworks. Right below that is the consumer grade fireworks, and they go off with there's such force behind them. If you have any kind of mishap at all, it's the results can be devastating.
Sure.
Like I know we've all talked about Dave Rexroth losing an eye. And one of the other things that goes along with that is the alcohol. You don't want to be drinking at all, and that's one of the things that's against the law as well. Even if you're using your fireworks on one of the days that we've mentioned, you have to be sober when you're using them, and obviously you have to be a responsible adult. I mean, and unfortunately, though, a lot of times you could have a party, and the fireworks are part of this party, and you've been drinking all day, and now you're going to use the fireworks. So we really recommend against that. And when it comes to fireworks, what the official stance of the fire department and the fire service in general is just leave it to the professionals. Just if you want to see fireworks, please go to a show, one of the public shows that are being put on, and leave. These are explosives. You're better off just not even playing around with them. We are working on another bill. Actually, there's a bill in Lansing right now. State Rep Henry Yanez is the one who brought it out. He used to be a firefighter in Sterling Heights, as a matter of fact.
So he knows the importance of
Yes,
this.
he does. He's very passionate about it, and that's something that you could talk to your state rep about. The fire service is still working to try to get, not to necessarily have it completely banned, but just to give local control to your local city government should be able to determine if this is something suitable for your city or not. Yeah.
So the city, if this ordinance does pass, the city of Dearborn Heights would have the authority to say, we do not want professional grade fireworks in our city, and if you do want to use them, they have to be outside of the city. But then our ordinance says that if you're using it, it has to be on your property. So basically, that would ban.
Right. Yeah. If we could ban them in Dearborn Heights, I think that would be a very good thing for our city, for our citizens. And one of the arguments that you hear the fireworks companies make is, well, they're just, if we outlaw the sale in the state, they're just going to go out and buy them from somewhere else. And that might be the case, but you're not going to have near as many as we've had now. And if it were just the 3 days that that they're legal, you could almost tolerate it. But it's not the 3 days. It's like the month beforehand, and then following shortly afterwards. It's nonstop. And again, the veterans that have PTSD, the dogs,
Right.
and just the general nuisance of it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we ask our citizens. We know it's legal to light them off on the proper days. So just keep in consideration your neighbors. If you are going to light them off, make sure you got a hose, a water can, something in case you have some malfunctions. But again, keep in mind our elderly neighbors, like we discussed earlier, and the animals. And this time of the year we get so many complaints and we get so many people are upset. So you have a right to light them off, but do it properly and do it within the time. The time that you're allowed to do it.
So is Thanksgiving one of those days?
Thanksgiving is one
It
day.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I never knew that. That's that's interesting. That
Thanksgiving,
you can do
and
fireworks
Memorial, Labor Day, so 12 holidays a year.
Well, that's great. But also too, I mean, even you did touch upon this, but in the summer it's dry. It's these remnants are going on roofs, and the fire hazard is just amazing. So hopefully people will be a little bit more cognizant about how they're using it, and it's dangerous. I mean, you mentioned Dave Rexroth, losing an eye. I remember just a few years ago I was in a park and one of the fire crackers went off, and I was sitting there and I was deaf for like 30 seconds, which felt like a lifetime. So it is definitely a real hazard, and it should be in the hands of professionals. But thank you, Governor Snyder, I guess, for legalizing that. But hopefully we can get some kind of ordinances that will be a legal conversation for local authorities, which I think makes a lot of sense.
Bit more
Give us a little
authority
more
as a
pull.
community to
Absolutely.
determine. And like Chief Brogan said, we're a small community, close knit, houses close together.
Absolutely.
it's a hazard.
And it's, not only with the fireworks in the summertime, we have a lot of the kids that are out of school, on the streets, riding their bikes. A lot of people on motorcycles too, and now we have the helmet law, which has been eradicated as well. So what have you both seen in regards to that or additional accidents? And I would assume a lot more serious injuries when somebody does have a fall on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
That's what we've seen. If you're going to ride a motorcycle, even a bicycle, they deal with the injuries, the fire department, a little more than us. But you do see, the accidents are there. You're always going to have motorcycle, bicycle accidents. But it's the severity of the injuries that we've seen increase. You fall off that motorcycle, even if it's a slow speed, you hit your head in a certain spot, a lot of, brain injuries. And when we do get these accidents, it seems like a lot of the injured are sent to the hospital and put into a head trauma unit, with head injuries. And I know when the fire department responds to the scene and they take the utmost care and professionalism treating these people, but still, once the damage is done, it's hard to recover.
Absolutely. And you have seen an increase.
We certainly have, yeah, that has been. Where you might have a minor accident, minor, a broken leg isn't going to be minor if it's your leg, but a broken leg is one thing. When you're dealing with a head injury, it's something completely
Both
different.
Head trauma,
yeah.
sure, and that
can affect your
life
quality
together.
of life forever.
And a lot of people are taking that option in terms of not wearing helmets.
They are.
More so, in the summer. So I'm assuming that issue is going to increase quite a bit. But for emergencies, for issues, traffic issues, for when we had the flood situation, and we have a new kind of service in place, which is called Ping 4. So
yeah, Ping 4 alerts is actually Bob Ancrap, the emergency director, he brought that in for us, and it's a really neat app for your smartphone. And so if you whatever kind of smartphone you have, Apple or Android, you go to the App Store or the Play Store, whatever they call it, for your device, and you could download Ping 4 alerts, and it's PING and then the number 4 alerts, and it's free. And it's free. It's a free app to download, and I have it on my phone. You could set up location services. You could set up specific to Dearborn Heights. I have both on my phone, just in case I'm out of town and something happens in Dearborn Heights, I'll still get the alert. But the only people that send out the alerts are the department heads, and Bob Ancrap himself can send out any kind of alert that we feel is going to be beneficial to the public.
Power, Bob.
So you're not going to get a lot of nuisance type alerts. You're going to get, a road closure. It's not like you're getting 5 of them a day. You're only going to get something that we deem to be important enough to send out, reach out to everyone. For us, if you have even some kind of hazardous material leak or something along those lines, and we want people to either shelter in place or evacuate the area, we can get out this information to a lot of people all at once. So it's a great tool for us to have, and it's something I highly encourage our citizens to take advantage of, that free service.
So what are the limits? What about if there was like real bad traffic somewhere, or obviously a traffic accident? But what are the limits? What can't you?
There's really no limits. It's just something more information for the public. So we've had a few accidents where maybe we've closed a few streets, so we put out a ping alert. Naturally, like the National Weather Service, when there's weather issues, you'll get a ping alert. Say if we had a leakage of some chemicals or something, Chief Brogan could put out the alert. So we make the residents aware, not to scare them, but let them be aware of the situation so they could take whatever necessary action they need to. So we have the ping alert for emergencies. And then in the city, we've talked about it before, we still have Corporal Peronello in his community awareness program, where he sends out emails to our residents, and those emails are more related with crime trends from the police department. So again, I ask our residents, if you're not on the mailing list, on the email list, to send the email to Corporal Peronello at the police department. I'll give you, it's a long email, but I'll give it to you. It's MPARRINELLO at ci.Dearborn-Heights.mi.us.
Okay, we'll have that on the board for everyone.
One day we'll get a little smaller email to work with. But if you send an email to Corporal Peronello, then he puts you on email list. When we get certain crimes in the area, or say if we get a missing child, he can put out an email to the people in that specific area. Crime trends, if we have a rash of B&Es, rash of stolen cars, whatever it be, you know what, he's got over 4,000 people, I think, now on the email list. And he'll send you out email, and it keeps our residents informed.
There was a little rash of some burglaries and what have you very recently. What's the status on that as well?
We're still working on those. It would have been with City of Wayne, Westland, Garden City, Inkster, us, and Dearborn. Down Cherry Hill, down Warren Avenue, we had a rash of B&Es, some younger kids from the Inkster area that we've been working. So we've arrested them a few times. Naturally, with the court system, it's hard to keep somebody in jail nowadays, and they get back out. But we're working. We know who they are. We're doing surveillance, following them at night. So the last few weeks, it's been a little bit quieter in the city. We haven't had no B&Es, so we're doing better. Hopefully, they know we're out to get them and following them, and they stay out of our city.
Good.
But you know, talking about that, naturally, summer crime picks up with our larcenies. People leave. They leave the garage door open. Lawnmower tools are accessible. So when you leave your residence for the evening or during the day, make sure you close your garage, close your windows. You know, if someone knows you're not home, if your window's open, all they got to do is play with the screen. They can get in the house. We don't have too many problems, you know, with B&Es in our city, but you'll get someone out there who's doing them, and they'll do a pattern of them. They'll hit a neighborhood. So just try, you know, crime prevention's important. Keep your lights on at night. Just a little stuff. Again, we usually bring it up this time of the year about our vacation checks. You know, if you're going out of town, let it be 3-4 days, 5 days, couple weeks. Call the police department. We fill out a form. We ask, you know, your address, what lights are on at the home, if you're getting any mail. And then we'll have our reserve officers come by every day or so and keep an eye on your house. If there is an issue, open door, open window that shouldn't be there, then we'll give you a call, you know, leave your number with us. But
That's
many
a wonderful
times
service.
people have been in a hurry to go on vacation. They left their door open, you know, in a hurry to rush out, catch a plane flight. And then the next day or later that day, we're doing a vacation check and the door's wide open. So we can catch that, you know, right after they leave.
That's
Give us a
excellent
call.
service.
We'll fill out that form, and it's a good program that we run in the city.
Sure. And also cars. Keep your cars locked, because my mom's neighbor, her car was broken into, and they ransacked the whole thing, and so that was an unfortunate thing. But just, you know, and then some of us leave our garage door openers in the car, I'm very guilty of doing that. And my husband will come in and he'll say, "You left your car open again," and so, you know, that's a way to get into the house. So very, very important. Lock your cars.
We see a lot of that in the summer. The kids are out later. They're walking down the streets. They just go from car to car and pull the door handle.
Just see which one
you
will
know
open.
If they get into 10 cars a night, someone leaves $20, $50 plus their computer. You know what? That's a good night's work for them. So please lock your doors, keep them secure, close your sunroof, all that. These kids are out at night, kids, adults, whoever, and they just go up to the cars. So don't be a victim. Just lock everything, secure it safely.
Absolutely. Now, we were talking earlier about Operation Blue Light.
Operation Blue Light is a project that we
What's
have
Operation Blue Light? Do we need to worry?
going on right now in the city. We work, and I believe there's 60 other communities working with us. What we do is, for a 2-week period, we just increase our enforcement awareness. We keep statistics, and then at the end of the 2-week period, Chief Head Ed in Dearborn, he kind of oversees the program. So we meet at the end, we submit all our statistics, and then they compile it. And we see in that 2-week period how many tickets were issued, violations, you know, how many arrests, and any special arrests. Being it's over the July 4th weekend, we'll compile the results with the fireworks, and we'll see, you know, if there was any injuries, how many arrests we made for possession of fireworks, lighting fireworks off. So it's a 2-week period that we just increase enforcement in the city. It's the start of the summer, so we just let the residents know in all the communities that are involved in this that we're out there and we're keeping an eye on you.
So it just gives you an idea where you have to pay more attention to once you get the statistic compiled.
Right. get specific areas that you keep an eye on.
Everybody knows, especially if you live in Dearborn Heights, this is the season of Ramadan. And Ramadan is a holy month, especially for Muslims in the area who practice the religion of Islam. And it is not eating, refraining from eating, drinking, doing anything from sunrise to sunset. And having it be summer, that's like 17 hours. So it's a long, long, long day. And that could be a little bit trying and frustrating on so many levels.
Patience wear a little thin.
Patience, absolutely. So I know that there's some issues that happen in regards to safety as well with Ramadan, because people are out a lot longer, and breaking fast is about 10 o'clock almost, 9:45, 10 o'clock, and so you have a lot of people on the streets. You have a lot of the businesses that are open, the restaurants. So what's your what's your focus on that, and what special kinds of services do you have to focus on?
Yeah, one of the big areas that we see is right before sunset. When everyone's in a hurry to break their fast, you see increased amount of traffic in the community, and the speeds pick up. Right, everyone's in a hurry. We're going to this barbecue, or we're going home to eat, and we have to remember there's kids out on the streets. Kids are already at those houses waiting to eat. They're impatient, so just be careful driving. Later at night, 9:30, like you said, 9:45. Drive a little slower. We don't want any kids injured. Kids are always darting out between parked cars on the side street. Another issue we run into is, after they break their fast, the families sit in the backyards, front yards, and they have a little get together. And sometimes these run in late into the night.
Sure.
So our police calls pick up after midnight.
Do you have an increased police presence during Ramadan?
With Ramadan, we got some more officers out there, because naturally our run load increases.
Sure.
And later at night, you still got our elderly citizens in the city that, they want to get to bed by 10, 11, 12 o'clock, whatever. And, a lot of these activities with Ramadan are going on until 2, 3 in the morning. Our businesses in the city, a lot of them stay open. I'm usually not up that late, but they say they're open until 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Local ice cream stores and some of the sub shops in that along Ford Road. So we have increased traffic, and again, with the groups meeting, the families meeting, just be considerate of your neighbors. You can have a good time, be outside, but we discussed the fireworks early. Don't set the fireworks off at 1, 2, 3 in the morning. We'll hear them nowadays. There's no need for that. Keep that, and try to respect your neighbors. Let them get their sleep.
The fire pits are huge, and so are hookahs, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But in terms of the fire hazard and hookahs in the garages and the fire pits going on, and also the cook-offs that we talked about earlier. So I'm going to let you bring that up.
Even in Ramadan, we've seen the past few years an increase in garage fires, because sometimes people have a little mini kitchen set up in their garage. And they'll come back, and whether they're in a hurry to get to the food or whatever, we've had some cooking fires that have involved the entire garage, and they've lost their entire garage. I think last year we had 3 fires right along those lines. So again, just be careful, be cautious, and just like you would with any other cooking fire. I think you cook in the garage, and then you're ready to go out and join the party, and it's left unattended. Where in your kitchen you might realize it sooner. In the garage, you can really get going before someone notices you've got a problem. So
do you see that increase happen during?
We did last year, so last Ramadan. So whether it does, we haven't seen anything yet this year. So we'll have to wait and see.
Oh, that's good.
And then with recreational fires, that is always a big topic. We do have a sheet on our website, and also at both fire stations. So you can come and get a guideline of what fires are legal and what fires aren't legal.
Can you have a fire pit in your garage?
No, not in your garage. No. You have to have it. It has to be
outside.
Yep, and it has to be 15 feet away from any lot line and any structure, and you need to have a hose nearby that you could put it out. And you also need to burn only firewood. You can't burn any yard debris. You can't burn anything else except for seasoned dry firewood. So that's the general rules that you need to be following. If it's a fire pit where it's actually dug into the ground, it's a little bit, you need to have 25 feet to lot lines and structures. So you really need to have a big yard to have a
So like
fire pit.
twigs and things like that, you can't
If you
put
just
into
if
the
you
fire?
just get a few twigs to start for kindling, that's okay. But you can't use it to get rid of yard waste. You can't clean up your yard and do a bunch of leaves and a bunch of branches and stuff.
So it's against ordinances to burn your leaves in Dearborn Heights?
Yes, it is. Yes, and also if you have a neighbor who might have asthma and be sensitive to the smoke,
Sure.
and this is bothering them,
That's a
we
lot
still
of
ask
smoke.
you to put it out. Yeah, and sometimes atmospheric conditions can be such where the smoke is just hanging right in a haze and going in their house, and if someone has a hard time breathing because of that, then we ask you to put the fire out as well.
Absolutely. Hookah. That is such an issue and such a problem within our communities. I know we only got a few more minutes, but the health hazard is just over the top. I mean, having one hookah is like having 3 packs of cigarettes. And so, and I'm sure, God forbid, but I'm sure within, period of time, those statistics are going to come out and a lot of people are going to be,
Health issues.
A lot of health issues. So, how do you deal with this? How do you make people aware of the fact that this is not a recreational thing?
Right.
It's
We all
serious
know,
business.
Surgeon General says cigarette smoking is no good. I've been on a committee through Access dealing with the youth and the hookah, and like you said,
Access is the American Arab Center for Economic and Social Services, just so people
so they know. So on that committee, we've been taught, we're trying to reach out to the community, to the young folks, that smoking that hookah, you said 3 packs, sometimes up to 5 packs.
Sure.
A half an hour smoking that hookah is equivalent to 3 to 5 packs of cigarette. They say that in the future, in the next 10, 15 years, we're going to have an abundance of lung cancer. We know what cigarette smoking does. With the hookah, you don't have a filter. The filter, it goes through the water. And we have a lot of young youth that are smoking it. You're supposed to be, 18 years of age, I believe the law is. And,
absolutely.
they go and they purchase their charcoal and they smoke it. So we just ask them, for their health reasons, kind of limit it. We know I can't tell everyone, don't smoke, don't drink, don't smoke the hookah. It's a personal choice. But it's a choice that's better for us and better for us as a community. The amount of damage that our youth are doing smoking this is quite
phenomenal.
a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's going to cause major issues down the road.
Absolutely. So we want everyone to be cognizant. And I know through Ramadan, that's something that's very, very, very
Traditional.
yeah.
And it's there.
And it's out there. And you see a lot of people in the garages, smoking the hookah with the fire pits. And so it's, so
We've had several fires from hookahs as well.
Right,
Yeah, when we discard the
absolutely.
charcoal. So,
absolutely. And that charcoal is open and it's right
Yep.
there. And so, if it falls over, on a rug or what have you, it is definitely a fire hazard. So thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Chief Brogan,
You're welcome.
and thank
Thank you, Siham.
Chief Gavin. This has been Chief Chat. A lot of wonderful, very, very useful information. Hookahs, fire pits, driving. Just be careful out there. All our citizens want to stay in a safe, wonderful neighborhood as Dearborn Heights, as Chief Brogan and Chief Gavin are maintaining and putting their efforts to keeping us all safe. So we have to do our part. Have a good day. We'll see you next time on Chief Chat.